Okay, so let's move into our second session. So we're going to try to find few, I guess, the stress coping mechanisms and practices. Some of them are from the philosophical, which is to me, when we say yoga philosophy, yoga is not really a philosophy, it's more of learning how to live, how to choose or make choices, and it's almost like how to become responsible. Like the word we have is responsibility, which literally translates. So if you break it out into two words, the responsibility. So yoga gives us tools on how to develop that ability to respond. And one of my favorite teaching really from the Yoga Sutras or the Yogic life, Yogic philosophy is always act and never to react. I know, even though when we talk about it, it sounds so fascinating, isn't it? When you think someone says, learn to act and never to react, never get into the burst of the feeling, emotions, or the mind. But when it comes to reality, it's a slightly different situation. So I do wonder, when we begin to take that practice in our life, or what do we do to develop or to enhance that ability? And I believe we all have that ability, and we all deep down in our heart like to do that. We like to follow that kind of attitude, that kind of practice, or in our day-to-day life. I don't think anyone actually willfully enjoy reacting or enjoy bursting into emotions, any form of emotion really. Even the positive ones can also be dangerous, if our emotions become impulsive. So where do we begin? I guess for me, when we think of beginning this journey of inner change, inner transformation, or inner engineering of our mind, it's the first thing, or first step really, is to coming out of our denial, accepting the issue, accepting the conflict, accepting the emotion, or really accepting this natural pattern that is there in each one of us. Because our best mechanism, the defense mechanism we have, is denial. And it seems to work in some ways, because at least, in publicly, we see like, I'm not putting myself down by denying that I have some kind of emotional or life challenge or issue that gets me in this situation. And if we deny these stressful moments, these stressful situations, well, we are blocking ourselves inside the problem and not going out to seek to find the solution. So to be actually accepting, and Amaji, our guru, honestly, she is truly amazing. One of the things he said, to remind yourself all the time that deep down in you, you are a little human being, a little man or a little woman, a girl. Which means that we never ever holding ourselves up with the big ego, like, I am too big to make mistakes. I'm too big to admit the feeling, the emotion that I'm going through. So the step one is not denying it. The step two is actually slightly bringing ourselves to the simplicity. To me, this state of like being a child, being just a normal human being, is a really beautiful way to simplify our life. Because in that way, when you simplify that way, you don't have to always live those barriers. Half of the people struggle with the burn down, not because of they don't have time to relax or anything. It's because this barrier we create, that I can handle everything, I can get through everything. Or sometimes, actually, if you think in a real life, having that break is actually quite healthy. Even when I say break, I'm not talking about actually you need to have a month, or if you can create a day or a weekend or something, it's great. Even if you can create a gap for 5 minutes And that's, to me, the yoga says the third practice, to bring yourself in your inner peace, or to find the space to restructure your own self. So the third step, he says, create a little space, create a little gap. Now, how do you create it? I guess you got to really find the best possible way it works for you. You can go out for a walk. You can just sit down and say, I'm going to have a cup of tea, or say, I'm going to have a bit of lie down, or find somebody to do a bit of foot massage or head massage. It's quite, I find it quite fascinating in UK here. When I came here first, Indian head massage. I never heard about it when I was in India. I never heard about it, even though I know it's quite a family practice where you will sit in front of your mom, or your mom will sit in front of you, and you're doing that. But when somebody offered me, like, oh Nyandev, you're looking so tired today, I can give you head massage, Indian head massage. What's Indian head massage? And I thought, I got Indian head, maybe she means she will give me a head massage and it will become Indian head massage. But what I'm saying here is, anything that works for you, and I'm happy to share what works for me whenever I cannot deal with my inner self, inner stuff. If I can get out somewhere and have a coffee and a cake. I know it doesn't sound very healthy, but it honestly, it can just transform my inner muddle into like, oh, I think my life is okay. And I can deal or get through it. And yoga literally says, create a little space or gap. Now, good thing here, somebody like Patanjali, the yoga man I'm talking about, he was so clever and open and free that he wanted us to be free too. So he doesn't say what you do, he said do one thing that helps you to take your mind away from it. How amazing it is. So instead of me telling you what to do, I would say, well, do one thing that really works for you. I don't know, it can be even some people I heard in past, they say, well, if I can play with my dog or cat, whatever they got in the house, for half an hour or something, it just somehow switches my energy. Some people like cooking, some people works, if they can just get through and clean the house, which is amazing. If that works, it's obviously a double blessing. So he said, do one thing that works for you to remove your mind when you caught up in that. Now the fourth practice comes to, he said, learn to breathe out properly, learn to exhale, learn to expel. Which is, exhaling, letting go, is actually also the expression of your mind to let go, isn't it? When you, let's think, I don't know, I'm just trying to think. Somebody is really, really annoying you, but you don't want to say anything, because if you do say, like, you are very annoying to me and what you're doing is totally unacceptable, that the person is going to double up, isn't it? So then you decide, like, it's just no point me saying it, because if I do, I'm waking up a sleeping dog. So it's going to bark louder while it's barking, even when it's sleeping. So think when you wake it up, how loud it can be. So you don't want to do that, do you? But there is a natural expression we do when we had enough of something, like, I don't know how many of you have ever done it. Now, see, when I look back, and in my grandmother's time, my time with her, if anything that was annoying her, in actually 10-20 years ago, it was very acceptable to express that kind of energy. Now we are living in totally a different barrier, where we always have to hold like this, we always have to smile, even if the person is being nasty, you have to still, it's sort of taken it to maybe too far. But anyway, I would not recommend myself to do it in front of somebody's face, because that can be even more upsetting. But whenever you really caught up in something, if you can get out of that place for a minute or two, and if nothing else, just have to say, like, oh, I'm really desperate, I need to run to loo. And in that space, doing a couple of rounds of that sigh, that hush breath. And this is quite a magical breathing, and I honestly, I didn't even knew until I was talking into one of the group with the art scale in Kamardan, and then one of this lovely lady, she was talking about how easily the people around her and the family and the neighbors constantly do things to annoy her. Obviously, it's not like if they were doing it to annoy her or she was getting annoyed for whatever they're doing, because there is always two sides of everything, isn't it? But anyway, for me, what we were talking about, like how she easily get caught up, and once she's caught up in it, every little thing gets so annoying. So I was like, oh, why don't you follow or do this breathing? And she was like, oh, where do I do? Because all these people seems to be always there. So that's where I come up with this invention, which I'm not sure if it's the greatest of the invention. So at least you can go and lock the door of the toilet, and hopefully people are not going to come and look at that. After a couple of months, this lady actually was chasing me down in Kamardan Tesco, and she's like, running Nyandev, Nyandev, and it's not easy to actually remember all these names. And she was like, oh, I don't think you remember me. And I'm looking at her face like, I actually do, but if you ask me your name, then I don't. And then she was like, oh, do you mind if I give you a hug? Now I'm talking before lockdown, okay? So way before, like a couple of years back. So I was like, of course not. So we gave each other a really good hug. And then she was like, oh, I must say how much grateful I am for you to teach me that breathing. And she said, it just changed my life. So instead of feeling caught up into that anger, the frustration or the emotion, she would just run out there, close the door for 5 minutes and follow the breathing. So let's try to do the breathing and then we can talk about it, shall we? And I'm sure this sigh expression, you are quite aware. So there is nothing actually unique or new in it. I don't think it's my invention. This is the human invention that has been there all the time. So I like you to sit straight, really comfortably you can. So we're going to do 3 conscious breaths. We want to breathe in deep through the nose, through our nostrils, and then opening your mouth very little, so your jaw quite relaxed and your tongue sort of pointing behind your teeth, and then sighing that breath out, very soft sound. So breathe in through the nose when you're ready. Now try to breathe out as long as you can. Second time, breathing deep. Third time, breathe in deep. It's lovely. Now just take a moment and really feel how your heart, your feelings responding to this sigh breath. Now the second step, we take our arms out to the side and your fingers touching to the floor. So what we're going to do, we're going to breathe in and bring our arms forward, and think if you're just giving a hug to your one spirit and bringing your head down. And then we sigh your breath and letting go with up, opening your arms like this. So you really feel you're just expanding that space and opening your heart to find that inner peace or the inner tranquility. So breathe out, in, and let go. In, one more in, okay, so again just sit still with your hands on your knees for a moment. Third one, then we take our knees up. So we're actually going to give a little bit more proper hug, and obviously it doesn't have to be cross-legged, you can also do on chairs, so it's just more of a symbolic practice. So this time we're going to take a deep in breath, and as you're breathing in, you're really bringing in to give a big hug to yourself. Even you can come up with your feet further in, and then we whoosh out, release like. Okay, so breathe out, in, In. In. And again, ease your legs. Just take a moment, really sit comfortably to feel this inner stillness or quietness. Now, once you find this inner sort of peace and then the emptiness, in that one we want to complete that practice of this inner healing or the inner calming breath with the humming sound. So that's just like a Brahmari B sound. And why do we need or we want to do this sound? Because this sound is really to express this inner sense of joy or happiness where you don't want to put something in words. So if someone offers you a really nice delicious meal and it's just so amazing and say, what do you think of the meal? The first expression then it's like, Or if you're really feeling happy and you don't want to say anything to somebody like, how are you feeling today? Do you know how many of you have ever done that? Are you enjoying your life? So this is actually the self-love, the self-inner contentment that we express. So it's like, I am joyful with myself. To me, that's how I see this sound. So sit straight. So we're going to take a slow, conscious in-breath, and with out-breath, making this extended, long humming sound. And you can really extend it as far as you can. So let's sit straight. Breathe out. Now slowly breathe in. And then humming. In. In. And just sit still. Now, I'd like you to choose on your right, left side, your front or back, it's the position that you totally find it easy to let go. Like for me, I really find if I can let go myself on my side, knees can be bent or straight. So find that position and then surrender your body, mind and your spirit in this space to Another. And just relax. Taking your time, when you're ready, just come back to your seated position again. water to keep yourself nice and hydrated. I will stop here for a couple of minutes. Maybe if anything you like to add or any question you might have in your mind, you want to ask, you may. And you can ignore if you think I'm just talking nonsense. Just laugh about it.
I think so. The exhaling thing, like letting out the breath, that's so sort of linked to tension. Then,
yeah.
Is it like in your body?
Yeah.
You're holding a lot of tension. So yeah, I guess I can kind of see the link to the breathing.
Yeah, and this is something like psychologically, whenever you are tensed or going through those hormones and the emotions, you tend to hold on to the breath. We tend to really get caught up into what we call the shallow breathing. And to deepen your breathing, the easiest way we can do it is by exhaling properly. Because once you emptied your lungs are going to suck the air in. And if you're not breathing out enough, then they cannot breathe in enough either. So, and conscious control we have on our respiration is we can breathe out as much as we like. Because if you breathe in deep, you try to like, that's also quite it's kind of like almost like you are forcing a panic response, or like the in-breath you want to like nice and calm, and then the exhaling is more of like kicking out anything that you don't want to hold on to. Now another way to do it, when we're talking about the tension of life, what we also have the spanda nispanda breathing, and as you mentioned, kind of with the tension, it's really also quite a great practice. You can do it sitting up, you can do it standing, you can do it lying down. So see, if I was doing it in sitting up, either my legs crossed or my legs to the front. So for the spanda nispanda breathing, your posture, your position does not really matter. But what we do, when we inhaling or breathing in deep, with that in-breath, you really create a big tension. Now, how you create the tension, it doesn't really detail. So I like to really close my fists tight and squeeze my feet and the glutes and belly and chest and just go like that. But once I complete the in-breath, then what I want to do, I want to soften everything and let go. And in that, I can either use the sigh breath, or if I can use the humming sound, because that the minute you go into that sound, I can tell you, it's very hard to hold on to the tension. It's just not easy, because you sort of like, if you feel like, oh, I'm so happy today, and if you can do that a bit of happy expression or the gesture and try to hold the tension, the two don't work together. So the humming really works. So shall we try to do that? So choose a position you like, and I want you to create your own practice. As I said, how you create the tension, it doesn't really matter. You can even do like, and then, or you can just do like, so choose the way you like. You can close your eyes, you can keep your eyes open, and we will do it 3 times. So spanda nispanda breathing with the Bhramri, the humming. Breathe out, creating the tension within breath. Hold the tension for a moment, and then let go and release with the humming. Again, in. One more in. Holding for a moment. Let go. still and really enjoy this inner sense of letting go. But also, we must let go. So as we try to understand this principle of really the inner change or inner organization, you're trying to understand this process of organizing your own mind. Because remember, your mind really makes you who you are. Even physically, your physical body is responsive to your mind, your feelings. So when you feel whatever reason, if you can create this intention of, oh, I'm so happy. And the minute you have said it, or minute you created that intention, that thought, this sense of lightness just resonates through your body. Or the minute you say, oh, I'm just so terrible, my life is just not worth it. The minute we say that, or minute we create that kind of intention, how heavy and dense we feel. So in a way, your body and your mind are really responsive to each other. So in a way, to me, as you're letting go, we must also, in reality, in real life, let things go that we don't have to or we don't need to hold on to. And that process can begin with the step of what we call creating a new outlook, a new attitude, or a fresh perspective. Do you know, I think I would like to really think about, when we caught up in our life, and I'm saying we because I'm also in that too. When we caught up in what is wrong, what people are doing wrong, or how somebody is annoying, stressing me, all we see around that person or the situation is what is annoying and what is stressful. And on the opposite hand, around the same person, same situation, when we are caught up in more of a positive, a joyful mindset, happy mindset, we start to see something greater, something blissful. So it's almost like if our reality, the perception, does have this kind of filtering of the intention or attitude behind it. So am I looking for a problem? So if I'm caught up in a problem and I'm going around and around that, I'm not leaving or allowing myself any space and energy to actually seek for solution. And it was quite interesting. I was listening to somebody on radio a couple of days ago, one of the psychologists, and how people are, especially at the moment, the difficult situation we all are in. There are the people, there is a group of number of people, there is everything has got problem. If somebody has got mask on, there is a problem. If someone hasn't got the mask, there is a problem. Someone get the vaccine, there is a problem. Someone is not getting it. So he said there is a group of people who are only pointing their finger constantly to the problem. And when you look at their life is so painful, so stressful. And then we have the people who are somewhere living in the trust or the faith and doing their best or finding the best possible way to live. And you know what they are doing? They are looking for solution. They are looking for, what can I do in this situation? How can I make most out of it? So if you have that attitude of how can I make most out of it, how can I live this opportunity, this moment, there is always a light, there is always a greater lesson. I'm not saying that it makes our life free from the problem, but because we changed our attitude, we are seeking for or looking for solution, life or situation starts to offer that. It's like if I come out and say, guys, I haven't got a cup of tea, no one is making a cup of tea. Everyone is going to look at me like, who do you think you are? But if I come out and say, I would love to have a cup of tea, if someone can make it for me, even if I ask that way, then there will be somebody who is like, I will make it. So if I'm winding into the problem or what's not there is one thing, or if I'm opening out to seek for the solution. So this concept of inner engineering, inner organization is actually learning to reorganize your own mind. Because remember, our life is really a set of our own choices, and the choices we make, again, there is nobody else to be blamed, not even yourself, because the choices we make, we do them for a purpose of either learning a lesson or creating an opportunity to grow, to find a solution. So that creates an opportunity for us to be in a certain situation. Now, I guess people who can learn, people who can adapt and look for the solution, they work through it, and people who get caught up in it, as Amaji again, our guru, I quite love the way she says, if I can say it properly, said, when you are in a dark tunnel or in a dark phase of your life, don't sit down there, don't give up in that point, because if you do, you will end up living in the dark. You must keep walking through it, and if you keep walking through it, that means you are seeking for the light, you are seeking for solution. The light, the solution will follow you. And as we changing that attitude, then Patanjali, our yoga master, our yoga friend, or the guru, the founder of yoga, or the one who really put these practices together, I don't know, thousands of years ago, he said, find the reasons to smile, mudita. Seek for happiness, seek for cheerfulness. And he said, the minute you become cheerful, naturally the light, the solutions of every problem start to manifest in your life. And this is something I can truly share, that I experience it many times. Whenever I'm caught up in miserable me, everything seems to have no solution, and only the problems and more problems and more problems. The minute I come out of that into the light, into the blissful me, and create a reason, honestly, in beginning I used to think people should not pretend to smile and laugh, but now I think even if you can pretend to smile and laugh, still it's much healthier than not smiling at all. Now I love about that, looking at that smile or the cheerfulness concept from our modern science, the neuroscience. And it says when you smile, your body, your brain releases around 26 endomorphins. And those endomorphins are feel-good chemicals or biochemicals in your body. So it's almost like you have taken the happy pill, which is obviously, it's a healthier one and without side effects. The good thing is, this pill I'm talking about, this does not have the after effects. It only has the good, the positive effect. So he said, create a sense of cheerfulness, sense of mudita, or this inner happiness. And then to me, on top of that, if I can add one more, as Patanjali says, karuna. Also developing the attitude of kindness or compassion. Be kind to yourself. Don't be over harsh, don't be over judgmental, and also not being kind to yourself, also be kind to people around you. Doesn't matter what you have to say in your mind, even if you say like that's idiot, but at least be kind in that way, that it's okay, someone doesn't know more than maybe you or me or somebody else know. They're just making a mistake and I feel sorry for them. I feel kinder to people. Because the minute you bring this sense of kindness or compassion, now when we talk about the kindness and compassion, see, for me, it's not just about how to be kind to other people, because I can tell you, you all are really good in that. The practice in yoga we talk about, also learn to be kind to yourself. Be kind to yourself. And that is a tough practice, I can tell you. Very tough practice. We like to be so harsh and judgmental and forceful and torturing and punishing ourselves for almost nothing. Even if we are a minute late, how much we can easily go into how terrible I am. I could not make it on time, or I did not give somebody a cup of tea. It took me 5 minutes to do it. How much we wind ourselves up in it. Now here, please, I'm not saying that we should find excuses to not do things like, I'm just being kind, it's okay, I don't need to do it. That's a totally different thing, but just being kind to yourself and not being too harsh and over judgmental. And you know, I do find this is quite interesting, this concept of Kshama or the forgiveness. If somebody else comes to us and say, I'm really sorry for yesterday, that was totally wrong, can you please forgive me? And if that person can also bring a flower and a card or a chocolate or I don't know, whatever you like, if the person knows, you not only forgive that person, but you actually feel more love or more feeling for that person in every possible way. But you know, my question really, how many times can you do that to yourself? And that is the practice. Be kind to yourself. Also, learn to forgive, learn to let go. And on top of that, it sounds very selfish, but there's this sense of appreciation or self-approval. Honestly, there is actually nothing wrong in when you go out and buy a bunch of flowers for yourself. Buy your favorite chocolate you like. Treating yourself. So that self-appreciation, that inner appreciation can really change your life. And there is one of the mantra Deepika shares, maybe if you want to talk. I know your throat is not great.
Which one?
I approve myself. I have to let Deepika talk because she
says. You know, I haven't got COVID. That's right. You're doing regular testing. Yeah, so there's this lady called Louise Hay, you might have heard of, she does affirmations. The first affirmation in her book, You Can Heal Your Life, is really good and powerful one, I think, which is just, I approve of myself. And just to kind of repeat, I approve of myself constantly in your mind. After a while, it'll really start to show you what actions you're taking or what behaviours you're doing that actually show that you can actually feel like a resistance. If you keep saying, I approve of myself, I approve of myself, and then it's like, suddenly after a few, I don't know, days, weeks, different for everyone probably, you will start to notice a lot clearer. You'll sort of see when you're doing things or saying things that are going against that inner message. So yeah, it's quite a nice affirmation to take home and have a go at. Put like post-it notes around the place in your bathroom and on your fridge or whatever. I approve of myself.
So it's just a nice phrase, and I always have to listen from Deepika because she actually used it as I heard many times. So, but you know that sort of phrase or that sort of mantra, and it doesn't have to be that one. You can really create your own one. You can make something that just helps you to lift out of your own muddled self into the light self, because we all are light. We all are bliss at the core of our existence or our spirit. So you know, this is sort of, you know, these small practices you can start to use in your day-to-day life and start to create a new, a positive, a healthy mindset, a healthy person, a healthy being. And to me, the last thing I would say, and then I will stop to have a little discussion. So I like to always keep a little time to listen, because I know in some ways you all have more experience than me, because you do live such an sort of amazing, but also a situation where your life has opportunities, I don't want to call them problems, and challenges to grow and to find a peaceful and newer way to think and live life. So to me, you know, this last kind of the thing or the step I really like to see or add into it It's also creating a new set of language, a new set of words around yourself. Because that word, that phrase you put out, it really creates your outer personality and it allows other people's energy to come back to you. So, if whenever you go out and if you say, oh, I'm just a terrible person, I don't like to be happy, I'm just so miserable. Now, honestly, wherever you go, people are going to give you that look to find out why are you miserable. So, Patanjali does talk about the language, the word, because the word you say, it has the meaning, and that meaning creates the essence, and that brings the change in your being. So actually creating a positive mindset, a positive phrase, a positive mantra, and a positive language about yourself and also the people in your life. Like if you are applying for a job and get the person who works for you or you work with them and say, oh, can you write a bit of reference, a bit of feedback for me? And if you ever done it for somebody, when you write that, 80% of your review is written on based on the information that has been given to you or you are giving to somebody. So in that way, if that is the thing, then what people are doing really, they are treating us or behaving around us based on the information we're giving them. So that actually creates a big sort of situation around ourselves, I believe. So also creating a much more positive or the healthier language or the healthier sort of manifestation or expression or personality of yourself and the people to live in the positive you, I guess, your positive spirit or however you see yourself. And typical old Indian culture is changed now. Honestly, I used to find back in my grandparents' time or even my parents' time, I have met with people even in hospital, they are almost like they know that they can die anytime, and if you ask them, how are you? The first answer, I'm okay, I'm great. So the first answer people used to have is for the spirit. So saying like, my spirit is okay, my soul is okay, doesn't matter what I'm going through, that spirit, that soul is always divine. And then they might whinge and complain for half an hour. How they're feeling, the pain, the problem that is there. So in a yogic way, and to me when I look at the cultural perspective, is actually beginning our journey even when we are there to talk to somebody about problems, you always hold your spirit up. Like deep down in my spirit, I'm okay. Yes, my life has problems, let's talk about them. I believe the minute we put our spirit down, that I, the self, down, then it becomes very hard to lift up. And I'm sure you would have met with so many people that, like, wow, when do they stop talking like me? Especially talking about problems. So also creating the gap, creating this space to talk about, I guess, something positive, something uplifting. If you all find a space, just lie straight and the other side of the screen. And I'll guide you through another short relaxation and the conscious breathing. Use a blanket if you need, use your cushions, really make yourself comfortable. And I'm going to relax with you all. So let's just let go and relax our body all the way from our head to the feet. If you need to do any sort of wiggling or twist or stress, please do that quickly so you're not holding on to any tension through your body. So it's creating this total sense of ease or a deep relaxation. Once you have relaxed your body, I'd like you to try to hold your body all the way from your head to feet still. Can we hold our body still without actually holding on to it? So letting go. Just letting go of your body and let it be still. If you can create that intention that I cannot even move my body if I want to, because I have let it go to relax. Our healing, our recharging, or the rejuvenation process of our body and mind, our brain really begins when we are deeply relaxed. So if you can let go of your body, your healing process, your healing response can be activated. And then be aware to this total relaxation response of your body. Now let's pay attention to our breath. And we're going to follow this beautiful breathing known as Savitri Rhythm Pranayama. So this really aligns or in tunes our body, mind, and our subtle energies with our biological or our solar rhythms, which takes us into a deep relaxation response or healing response. Normally we begin with the 6-3-6-3, but I will begin with the first 3 rounds with the 4-2-4-2, and then I will change it into 6-3. If you feel the 4-2-4-2 is just fine for you, you can continue in that rhythm, or otherwise change it with me to 6-3. So now paying all your attention to your breath, keeping your whole body totally relaxed. Breathe out. Slowly. In, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 2. Out. 2, 3, 4. Hold out. In. Hold. Out. Hold. In. Hold. Out. Hold. You can continue that, or we're going to change into 6-3. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3. Out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold. 2, 3. In. Hold. Out. Hold. In. Hold. Out. Hold. In. Hold. Out. Hold. In. Hold. Out.
whole. I'd like you to keep following this breathing for a few more minutes on your own before you let go.